Hey guys, KiwiSylveon, and welcome back to Seduce Me to the Demon War. And as you can tell, I got my hair dyed. It's all awesome. I love it. In the last episode, I guess we were attacked by angels. Don't ask why. But now, and you can see that I got a new headset, and so I can control the volume. So, hopefully everything's fine on your end. I mean, I looked at the past couple, and I love this new headset. It's very nice. Better turn that off, this is getting annoying. There we go. Even though it's a little darker now. And Sarah is currently yelling at James. Let's get back into it. I stared wide-eyed at Sarah. This was about their betrothal, but James did what was best for him. He and I didn't care about the consequences of our love, but Sarah's painful words made me shake. Sarah's eyes began to burn once again in jealousy at James and rage at his words.
Because of you, the only people she had in this world, her family, was brutally murdered in the most sadistic of ways. The imps painted the walls of the castle nursery in the king and queen's blood, while her unborn baby sister was ripped from the queen's womb and nailed to the wall like a hunting trophy.
That's still... Oh my god. Who's texting me? Okay. Oh my god. Demon Lord, why? Why are you such an asshole? Poor Diana. I felt sick to my stomach just imagining it, despite not wanting to in the first place. The imagery was too much, but Seto continued without mercy.
Asayer had to watch her kingdom burn before her eyes and listen to the screams of her people when she returned from the human world after hunting you all down. It was only after the siege when she saw the fate of her own family.
Seto finally straightened up. At the sight, he looked powerful and strong, but his eyes burned with anger and rage as he glared at James. For the first time in my life, I saw fear run through James's eyes.
Yet you all claim innocence. You all know nothing of innocence! Enough, Seto!
Oh shit. Oh my god, I'm so tearing up about that. Everyone shot their head towards Diana's voice to see her standing in the corner of the room, shrouded by shadow. However, I could faintly see tears running down Diana's cheeks, despite the terrifying anger on her face towards Zero. Ha!
You will not speak of the past again, Zero. Understood?
Yes, my lady.
Diana finally stepped away from the corner and stood in front of Zero and across from James, not caring toward the rogue tears running down her face.
What's done is done. We can't ever change the past, no matter how desperately we try. What matters now is preparing for the Demon Lord and the final battle.
True! James nodded. It was a sour note to end on, but Diana's words were truth. We couldn't linger on pointing fingers and having doubts now. Diana ran ahead.
So, you... Shadow. Even one... Anyway, we can... Simple. Each of the...
What would the others teach me?
Search...
Let's see. I need to pop into something quick to see. If you see my mouse, oh well. I need to look at something. I can't remember who I have training Allie. Because I have a certain strict line to go. Because Sergeant we trained with Violet, so I have to... You know what? I'll pause the recording quick. Okay. It is Shadow that trained her. Okay. Diana nodded. Shadow seemed very intelligent and knew the ins and outs of being sneaky and dodgy. It would definitely help in the battle to not get hit and maybe take some enemies by surprise. With that, Diana turned on her heel and left the room.
Well, it'll be worth it though. Damien's...
Wait. I accidentally did that. Choosing shadow defied almost every part of my moral compass. He seemed like a fantastical sociopath, lacking care for anyone but the war and himself. Still, I had to admit, his personality made me curious about his abilities. Hang on, I'm getting the text. Okay, that send something to somebody. After all, he was the one that almost set me back home through Diana's shadow. As the memory of the void filled my thoughts, I began to try and dissect how it was done. Were shadows doorways here? Was Shadow just that powerful? How exactly was he able to something a person's shadow through into turn a person's shadow into a void through the world? Maybe that was the reason why I chose him as my trainer. My curiosity about his abilities were pecking at me, and I needed answers. Learning some of the abilities myself was just the icing on the cake. Ow, I hurt myself. I was guided to a library by a scout, most likely under orders, and found Shadow reading through scrolls on the table near the fireplace. Upon me entering, Shadow looked over.
Ah, there you are. Come, sit.
Shadow motioned a hand toward one of the seats almost dismissively as he continued to pore over what he was reading. I followed his directions and sat down in the chair, watching him. For a full minute, he said nothing. I watched as he read each line off the scrolls before him, and occasionally switched scrolls to read what the others had written down on them. The handwriting was in hastily scribbled Latin, so there was no way for me to understand it. However, I began to feel a little agitated. Weren't we supposed to be training? Allie would just stand up. She'd be like, fuck this. I decided to simply stand up, hopefully to catch its attention. However, as I was attempting to, I felt myself unable to push off against the chair, like I was stuck to the seat. Settle. Did Settle do something while we were gone? To this damn chair? Huh? I looked down at the chair I was in. It was a simple chair. How was I stuck? I wiggled a bit in my seat, noting that I wasn't sitting on anything sticky, nor was anything keeping me down physically. What the hell? I attempted to stand once more, unable to move any further than a centimeter up from the seat before needing to sit back down.
Do you understand now, human?
You can call me Allie, by the way, Shadow, please. Not any pluralities. I looked up at Shadow, seeing him continue to visually ignore me, but noticed a small smirk on his lips. He was holding me down somehow? She knows.
When you can stand, we will begin.
My eyes widened. This was a test. This was an unfair trap of a test that I fell into, and now I had to find my way out. I had to figure out how he was trapping me to the chair and stand. This was going to be an adventure and a half. That's an understatement. I looked down and around my body on the seat, seeing my shadow beneath me. It was pretty obvious that he was using my shadow to hold me down, but the question was how I was going to break its hold. I took a moment to let my thoughts dissect the problem. He was holding me by the shadow. He had to have been. It only made sense. If I somehow made my shadow disappear, then his hold would vanish along with it. However, how was I going to do that? My shadow was beneath me, formed by the shape of my body and the firelight. Then it hit me. The firelight. I looked at the fireplace, seeing it burn bright from the pyre within its mouth. It illuminated the room and gave every person in the object a shadow. As I stared into it, my plan became set. I smirked as I gripped the armrest and planted my feet on the floor. I pulled the chair up onto one of its legs, pushing me off the ground with my foot, and completely turned the chair around, facing away from it. My entire body became covered in shadow, but I knew my plan had worked. I no longer felt a hold on me, keeping me in the chair. My shadow vanished into the new darkness around me. I quickly pushed off of the chair, finally being able to stand. It seemed like so freeing to be able to stand again, having been trapped in that chair. As I felt my body stand up straight, Shadow out and impressed.
Quicker than I anticipated.
I glared. Did he honestly think that little of me? Seriously? I had to stare at Shadow like he had 5 heads. As he turned to me, he smirked at my facial expression, causing me to fight back the urge to snap at him.
I had to see how intelligent you were. I'm not going to waste time on someone who doesn't know how to use their brain.
Oh, hell no, Shadow. I know I hate Shadow, but you are quickly climbing to number 1 on that list. Number one. Fuck you, Shadow. I almost said Shadow, but Shadow's another bastard and a half. Despite the insult, I could feel that he was underhandedly complimenting me in some twisted way. I guess what I had been able to pull out of his statement was that I was smart enough to fend for myself. I could tell this was going to be both an annoying process, but at least an interesting one. True. Shadow shook his head and stepped away from the table towards me. He gripped the chair I was on and turned it back around to face the fireplace before crossing his arm.
What I will be teaching you are mere basics of dark magic. You will be able to hide in plain sight, control your environment, and even defend against impossible odds. I expect you to use these abilities wisely. Understood?
I suddenly became excited. I would be able to do all those things? The idea of it all became rather fascinating and outright too good to be true. However, I was in the demon world. Anything was possible. I nodded and mentally prepared for whatever he threw my way. I wouldn't fall for another trap. Shadow took in a breath and let out a silent sigh before closing his eyes. His body slowly became pitch black, covered by a wave of shadow despite the firelight on his body. His form slowly melted into the ground and faded into the shadow of the table beside him. What? Shadow? Shadow! Don't leave me alone. Ellie might get lost in the books here. I became confused, but as I stood for a moment, there was only silence as a reply. Was this what he meant by using my brain? I had to copy him? How did he even do that? How was I going to even start trying? You're not going to tell me how you did that? I was once again greeted with silence, making me let out a sigh. I had to figure it out. I replayed the spell in my head from memory, trying to discern how he made himself into a shadow. Maybe I had to think about becoming a shadow? Did that even make sense? No, not at all. I closed my eyes and tried to imagine darkness covering me. As stupid as it sounded, it was worth a shot. However, as I did, something in my nerves seemed to make me hesitate. I could sense a feeling of cold dread try to take over my body as I thought about the darkness. Was this something I was supposed to feel? I felt suddenly scared and started to second-guess my desire to learn about dark magic.
Why are you hesitating?
Hello? I heard Shadow's voice rumble through the air, causing me to question the training. Did I want to go through with this? Yeah? I shook my head. I needed to be brave about this. It was a new set of skills I could use in battle. I just had to take it slow. I mean, technically you got all the time in the world. And I saw videos, I've been watching so much at Seduce Me Twos. Somebody actually did math. The main character is here in the demon world for nearly 34 hours. Yeah, almost a day and a half. Well, nearly a day and a half. So, That's interesting. Did I read that? Yeah. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and focused on becoming a shadow. Cold feeling ran through my body, crawling over my skin and completely enveloped me in its embrace. Soon my entire body had become surrounded in frozen numbness. Numbnexus, what are you doing here? Oh, hi. Hi, Shadow. As I opened my eyes, I gasped at the sight. Shadow was once again in front of me, but the room around us had become visually dark and misty, like I was in another world. My body felt light as I stepped toward my trainer in confusion. Shadow lifted an arm and gestured dismissively around us toward the environment.
Welcome to the Shadow Plane.
The what? The Shadow Plane?
Indeed, think of it as a copy of the real world, but no one lives here except shadows.
I furrowed my eyebrows, still confused, but gasped as I heard quick footsteps rushing outside of the door. I was shocked to see demons in black hoods and cloaks running back and forth along the hall. What the hell?
Those are my scouts. They use this plane to travel without being hindered by other beings. They're much quicker this way.
I looked at the ground, seeing it coated completely black in darkness. How was I able to be here if this was a new plane? I thought I was trapped in the demon world. How can I be here if I'm cursed?
This plane is part of the demon world, so the curse does not affect you coming here. We are currently shadows of the real world, untouchable and barely traceable.
Can I learn, please? I nodded, taking in what he was saying, so I was able to roam about now and not be seen. That was an interesting power. Shadow began to walk out of the room, ushering me to follow him.
Come, you will see the benefit of this world in action.
Cool. I quickly followed, excited to see what we were going to do. Where would we go? What was he going to show me? Shadow and I walked quietly through the halls. I could faintly see the outlines of people who were not in the Shadow Plane and became shocked to see Shadow simply pass through them as if they weren't there. A couple of people passed through me, and I felt instinctively strange, but physically felt nothing. It was like I was a ghost. The ghost of the main character. It's not me. We were truly shadows. As we arrived in the war room, Shadow stopped me and peered inside. I crouched and looked through the door as well, hiding out of instinct. Inside were Diana and a person covered by a cloak. Diana's face painted the situation, its emotions very clearly as one of agitation toward the girl who stood before her at attention.
Shama, I understand that he didn't accept it, but where did you take it?
I was told to throw it away.
Shamadan.
Your master told you to throw it away?
Yes, I actually overheard that.
As I said, ma'am.
So said, Mom. Diana gazed at the hooded figure, bearing her serum to her soul. However, Diana could only sigh. What was Diana asking about? What did the figure throw away?
Very well. You are dismissed.
The demon bowed and left the room, passing through me in shadow. It still felt weird that people were able to go through me, but I shook it out as Shadow cleared his throat.
Scare the succubus.
What? I looked up at Shadow, surprised at his demand. However, his cold gaze pierced back into mine, letting me know that he was serious about what he asked of me. As I became nervous and a little fearful, I had to scare Diana. How? The idea of appearing behind her came to mind, but Shadow seemed to know what I was thinking.
Scare her from this plane.
Now things became complicated. This was a space where I was just walking through people. How was I even going to phase her in this world? I looked into the room, taking note of everything. The light in the room was pretty bright. Her shadow was casting against the wall, mimicking Diana's actual movements. Was I able to do anything with that? What about the light in the room? Was it possible to dim the lights like a ghost? It seemed a bit complicated, but it could be fun. I took a moment to think before deciding. Normally I would mess with her shadow because it's hilarious. I'm going to mess with the lights this time, see what happens. Because I've never messed with the lights when I'm training with shadow and doing this. It was merely an idea, but if it worked, then I'm sure it would impress Shadow. I rushed into the room and looked around, trying to find a way to block out the light of the fireplace and the lantern on the wall. I decided to start small with the lantern, phasing my hand through it and to test it, if I could basically take it. As my hand phased in and out of it, the flame seemed to sway with my movement, catching my attention. Ah. I raised my hand and brushed it over the flames, causing it to sway in the direction of my hand as if I had slapped it. New discovery! I looked over to see Dinah looking in my direction, locking her sights on the lantern. Did she see it move? I moved my hand over the flame once again, causing her to turn and face me with a sigh.
Dear, I know you're there.
Fuck. What the hell? How did she know? As shadow switched to the real world, I felt my body force itself back as well, like I'd run out of energy. I finally felt warm to consume my body, making me feel dizzy and lightheaded. Gah. What?
She's done quite well. She went into the shadow plane without much hesitation.
I see.
I naturally hugged the wall, feeling the after effects of the transfer dance over my body like rumbling waves of wind. It felt so strange. I knew I still had a lot of energy, but I wasn't able to stay on the shadow plane for long.
I'm surprised she managed to stay there for as long as she did. I expected her to phase out before we came here.
To do what, exactly?
Shadow stared at Diana blankly before turning toward the door and walking out.
Come. We have more work to do, human.
Yes, sir. Bye! The irritated look on Diana's face looked semi-hilarious, but I shook my head and ran after Shadow, pumped to learn more. Bye, Diana! How did I do all of that?
Curious, are you?
Oh yeah, I am your student after all. I want to know! As we walked back to the library, Shadow looked at me and gave me a slight smirk.
You are quite interesting for a human.
Aw, thank you, Shadow. I felt a bit flattered and ran my hand along the back of my neck, bearing a shy smile. I had to admit, I was acting like a little girl who had just learned about candy. Still, I had a very good reason. I did something I never imagined I could do. It was well worth the excitement. Shadow shook his head and let out a sigh.
While it is impossible for us to touch anyone in the shadow plane, let alone assassinate them, it is very possible to distract them or affect the light sources of the world.
Rap. Like how I did?
Indeed. A shadow is more than just a reaction to light. It is also a part of a person's being, able to be used to, let's just say, get a message across.
Can I use this against Sam for what he said earlier? Please? Oh yeah, Sam also said that Allie and James are fucking. I wish. I think Allie trying to think like, I could use this against Sam and fuck with him and it'd be so interesting if they could do that. So I can't kill anyone from the shadow plane.
No, but you can very easily make them feel as if they aren't alone, putting them on alert and giving you a good chance to kill them while they're distracted.
I took a moment to take in what he meant. I could see how manipulating the shadows were a great benefit in battle. However, apparently I had a time limit for how long I could be in the shadows. At least I wasn't entirely overpowered. The remainder of the day became focused on me manipulating light and shadow in the library. While being in the shadow plane was fun, it was only effective if the targets of my movements were either the source of the light or had distinct shadows of their own. At the end of the day, I was exhausted. Who knew that using dark magic would be so difficult? Still, I guess that had potential, or else I wouldn't have succeeded in passing the test Shadow could want me. Had to be proud of that much. I slumped and fell to the ground, exhausted. I definitely used up a lot of energy, and it was foreign feeling to me as a human. It was like my body became heavier with each breath I took, but it wasn't entirely painful. A small huff caused me to look over at Shadow, seeing him stare at me intensely with crossed arms. What?
For a human, you have a large amount of energy. I'm surprised you're not a witch.
I felt a little bolstered by the statement, despite how strangely it was phrased. I guess Shadow really couldn't genuinely compliment anyone. I wondered why. I had much to learn, but I was excited for the next day as my training ended and I was sent to my room. Eee! I returned to my room that night okay, specific was the shirt curse. Trained for a reason. James, the man I loved. However, just thinking about him brought back memory of Cyril screaming and Diana crying. Was it really James's fault that Diana's family was killed? All James wanted was freedom. As I thought of him, James entered the room and spotted me, a tired smile growing on his face. I smiled back, matching his expression. Exhaustion.
You look worn out.
Oh, you have no idea. So do you. James chuckled slightly and walked over, sitting beside me. I felt myself instinctively scoot closer to his body and lay my head on his shoulder. That simple move made my body almost sink into his. When did James ever feel this warm? James's arm wrapped around my waist and pulled me closer. God damn it, Twitter, stop exploding, please. As he placed a kiss on my head, I could only hum happily.
So, about sleeping tonight.
You have an idea, my dear? I looked up to James, wondering where the question came from. It was random, and I didn't understand what he meant until I stretched back into my thoughts. The angels. Twitter, stop! The angels. James nodded. He was right. How was I supposed to sleep when angels were after me? They could reach in my dreams and remove my memories without me being able to fight back. At least not without Zero's or Diana's help. Shut up, stomach. Was it fair to depend on them, especially after remembering what Zero confessed this morning? James, however, gently turned me in his arms to face him. I looked up at him, wondering what he was up to. What are you doing? I had to ask. I trusted him, but I still wanted to know what he was thinking and planning. James continued to stare into my eyes before frowning softly.
I want to try and do something, but I'm not sure if it will work. It's been years since I've used pure demon magic, after all.
Are you going to have a way with Allie? Oh, help me. I'm going to hit you if you don't, because she needs it. You both do. What did he mean? Was he going to cast some sort of spell on me? I mean, he already has a spell, technically. It's called love. My hair's so fuzzy and it's just so fuzzy. Much fuzziness. Much fuzzy. Much poofy. At least now I can still itch my ear without having millions of hair on my head. What kind of spell was he going to use? I stared at James, unsure of the whole thing, but James kissed my forehead.
Please, trust me, love.
All right. It took a moment for me to slowly ease my curious nerves. James just wanted to help, and if this was the way, then this was the way. I nodded and gave him the okay to do whatever he needed to do. James gently ran his thumbs over the side of my face, tracing over the edges of my eyes and cheekbones. I felt small wisps of energy dance over my nerves and closed my eyes gently, becoming lost in the sensation. I can't speak. I swear I passed English when I was a kid. I just can't speak otherwise. A warmth developed my head. Wait. I could faintly see golden light piercing through the darkness of my eyelids, so I kept my eyes closed, confident that it was the best thing to do. A warmth enveloped my head, filling my thoughts with pure calm and serenity. It felt almost too unreal. As the light faded away, I opened my eyes to meet the loving gaze of my incubus. He gently caressed my cheeks and placed his forehead against mine, closing his eyes with a smile. I felt joy wash over me as he held my head close to him.
There. That should work.
What did you do?
A small mind barrier spell. It's been a long time since I've used a spell like that. Simple, but hopefully effective.
I nodded before gently nuzzling James. It had to work. It absolutely had to work. My heart swelled in hope that everything would be okay. Kiss him before sleeping. I gently stretched up and kissed him softly on the lips. He gently kissed me back and held my head to him, pressing me to his chest lovingly. I could feel him sneak a bit of energy from me, but I didn't mind. As we both laid back in bed to sleep that night, James's spell was tested. Floating in the darkness, a dream was never the same every time. Sometimes I'd be floating in water, other times I'd be flying through air. The experience over my nerves changed every time, and I could never prepare myself for what dream or nightmare would come. That night, however, I found myself once again in a jail cell. Oh, fuck my life. Huh? I didn't understand. Why was I here again? Why was I once again trapped in a cell? I looked down to my body and seeing my regular clothes still hung. There was no shackle attached to my ankle and as free as I could be. That was different. Still, I had to be on guard. I quickly stood up and walked to the cell door, running my hands over the metal. At the mere touch of my hand, the door slowly swung open, releasing me and allowing me to leave its dark cage. Another difference. I stepped forward, looking up and down the hall I was in. There were no screams, no cries. It was as silent as the grave. Ominous! Michaela, why did you describe it that way? That worried me and made me feel uneasy, despite the relief I felt that the dream was not the same nightmare I had before. At least, that's what I hoped. A sudden cry of pain echoed down the hall, causing me to look over in the direction it erupted from. My heart stopped for a moment, recognizing the voice. James! My body rushed on its own towards his voice, now desperate to find him. Why was he in pain? Who was hurting him? At last I arrived at a door. Barely open a crack, I peeked in and gasped at what I saw. Chained to the far wall was James, his body twitching in pain as he desperately attempted to free himself. I stared in shock as my eyes took in a cross burnt onto his chest and seemed to sizzle over his flesh. Give me a moment. I'm actually going to see if I can translate it as best I can using Google. Oh, wow. I gotta do it in the next episode because I did not notice how off my timer was, so I will leave it here, and apparently shit's going down. Itchy head, itchy head. While I was getting my hair dyed, I could not itch my head because first there was the bleach and then there was the awesome purple. Anyway, remember to leave like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next episode of Seduce Me 2, The Demon War, James's Route. Bye!